Before I get into this video, I want to make a few things clear. The video is intended for learning and entertainment purposes, and for singers, as there is no a really detailed breakdown on Corey's voice change. But if you look it up, you will most definitely find that some will say, never scream like Corey Taylor, or learn how to scream like Corey Taylor. So which one is it? I will take a deeper look into his more recent performances and compare them to older ones, especially Iowa era, since Iowa is mostly compared to We Are Not Your Kind. Hopefully, by the end of this video we will learn something interesting about the evolution of Corey's voice and take notes as singers. Slipknot's last tour cycle for The Great Chapter has left me very concerned for the future of Slipknot and Corey's ability to handle Slipknot's live shows. But Corey made a statement in 2018 that was hard to believe. Did he actually deliver in 2019 and 2020 so far? Quite surprisingly good. I can genuinely say that his performances surpassed my expectations. The record overall is reminiscent of their early work and seems as a sort of combination of Iowa, Volume 3 and even self-titled. But of course, elements of their more recent style are on this record as well. Corey's approach to the choruses on this effort are very much inspired by Iowa. The constant exchange of cleans and screaming parts was sort of a staple on Iowa, and Corey leans on the same principle on We Are Not Your Kind as well. However, I did not find the choruses as exciting and engaging as they were on Iowa. But this did not hinder this record. His aggressive performance on We Are Not Your Kind is what impressed me, and this is what made this album in terms of vocals quite ambitious. Birth of the Cruel is one of my favorite tracks and is very reminiscent of Iowa and even self-titled. On this track, Corey is very intense and emotional, with his voice sounding quite thick, and I find this to be one of his best performances on the entire record. The pre-chorus part to Critical Darling is nothing impressive in terms of vocals, but I think is a testament to Corey's songwriting ability. We can witness Corey taking advantage of phrasing in the song, and this moment really does stand out. Solway Firth is probably one of the hardest and intense songs on the album in terms of vocals, and Corey delivers an inspiring performance. The heavy part in Liar's Funeral is definitely his highlight performance on the entire record. It has some of the heaviest vocals he's done since All Hope Is Gone, an album on which he intentionally went as low as he could. As for clean vocals, Corey has always been very solid. It's a well-known fact that he is a great singer with a memorable rock voice. However, he plays it a little safe on this record. We know that Corey has quite a wide range. His exact vocal range in present day is hard to pinpoint. Not everyone accepts recordings that were done over 20 years ago as a solid proof that Corey can actually execute those extremely high notes consistently in a live setting today. Not that he needs to prove anything, but we don't really hear Corey engage in his upper register all too much. As in terms of clean singing, he behaves as a very obvious baritone, maybe a lyrical baritone. If anything is lacking in his cleans, in my opinion, is just to hear him engage into his upper register a little more. But with how demanding his entire back catalog is, it's understandable that Corey would intentionally limit the range he uses. The first time we got to hear Corey perform their new material live was on Jimmy Kimmel. The best example would be Unsainted. performance was not that great, but there were a few reasons as to why. First, he was just after having a surgery on his knees. And second, the song was new, so understandably he lacked practice with this particular track. This is how he sounds in a more recent performance. When the actual touring began in support of We Are Not Your Kind, Corey's performances got quite solid, especially when comparing to the Grey Chapter period. In songs like Eeyore and Disaster Piece, he does not slack off anymore, and was able to go all out with distortion, instead of breaking into sort of talking through some of the parts. It's quite impressive. Hey, this is me from the future. Originally, the voiceover for this video was recorded back in the end of January, but since then an important live show of Slipknot happened at Maida Vale Studios, where Corey did not sound his best. Obviously, he had a bad day. Most likely he was sick or worn out his voice. However, he recovered rather quickly, as he sounds quite stable in the shows that followed. So I don't think that what we heard in this performance had a lasting effect on his voice, unlike the problems he had in 2004 and 2015. But we're gonna have to wait and see what the future brings and if there will be a relapse of this same problem. Now back to the actual video. Notice there is not a single track from the Grey Chapter in this setlist, and just one from All Hope Is Gone. I guess the band can tell to which songs their crowd responds best. And yes, Corey leans into letting the audience sing some of his parts, but that is just inevitable at this point with how iconic some of their songs have become. He's a little conservative with longer notes and screams, but these performances are night and day when comparing to the Grey Chapter era. Corey is in a much better condition than he was a couple years back. Most seem to think the improvement is due to him quitting to smoke, so does Corey himself. And it's probably a combination of things. He also had a neck surgery in 2016. Now that he got some rest from the extensive touring with Slipknot since the Grey Chapter and had the time to regroup and really take advantage of having a healthier voice and body. Now there is a lot of talk on the internet that Corey sounds as good as he did on Iowa, and of course that's absurd. I'm sorry, but it's physically impossible. If you compare side by side Corey's performances on both recordings or live performances of that time, you will notice that there is a significant difference. It's very obvious. I just think that people forget how insane Corey sounds on that record and live shows of 2001 and 2002.
Come on, fucking fist in the air, come on!
And you know, everyone seems to refer to Iowa as this predominantly guttural delivery, but listening back to it, I realized that his highs were so bright and full that they knock anything out of the park Corey did ever since. Usually in healthy singing or screaming with distortion, false chords are used or soft palate and other tissues in your voice box to produce the distortion. The distortion itself should not originate in your vocal cords directly. The reason that Corey's voice sounded so full back in the day was because he engaged his entire singing mechanism all at once, sometimes including his vocal cords, because of his habit and style of throwing a speech-level word here and there. Most singers would have problems with their voice much sooner than Corey did. But it was once again a combination of things that affected him: drugs, smoking, alcohol, extensive touring, and voice misuse. The easiest way to see how his voice has actually changed is to compare his speaking voice in '99 to a more recent one. And you can tell he sounds more rough just speaking. Obviously, age is involved and all that, but if he sounds different when just speaking, how can he sound the same when singing? The answer is he can't. It's not possible.
1 year, 2 years, world domination, 5 years. You know, we could be playing Vegas. We don't know.
What matters to us is the thing that brings us all together. So we're welcoming people under the canopy of Slipknot.
When I got the news that we were #1 in the UK, I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh my God. You know, I didn't know what to do. I just sat there. I was numb.
That, you know, the real issues that you've been dealing with, whether it was, you know, being abused or, you know, abusing, you know, narcotics at such a young age. And
to answer the question I brought up at the beginning of the video, I think I have drawn a pretty clear picture of Corey's singing career, and you can make your own conclusion. In my opinion, these days we have much more information than we ever did about extreme singing, that you can achieve almost any result without damaging your voice. Even though Corey's nihilistic approach to his art back in the day was very much in line with what Slipknot stood for, strictly from singing perspective, I'd say you'd be better off avoiding to replicate that Iowa scream. Today, Corey is far more careful as to how he uses his voice and performs live, and he is leading a much healthier lifestyle. Overall, voice is such a delicate thing that when something goes badly wrong, it will never be exactly the same. But even if we never hear that same scream of Iowa era, which is absolutely my favorite metal scream of all time, we still have Corey Taylor today that sounds the best he did in the past 10 years. And I think that is more than anyone could ask for. Thank you if you had the patience to watch this video till the end. I have now covered the entire discography on Corey's voice. If you have not seen the older videos which date back to when Corey was a teenager, I'd be happy if you check them out. Leave your thoughts in the comments section, drop a like, and subscribe if you are new here. Take special care of your voices in these crazy times, and I will hopefully see you soon. Take care.